It's June 1st, 2022, and a friend of mine from Savannah has invited me to their wedding, which means I'm flying down to see Savannah, Georgia for the first time since I packed up my apartment and left for graduation 2 years ago. Okay, so we actually found out you can get a pretty cheap flight directly from Cleveland to Savannah, so that option is available unless you're like me and procrastinate. If you procrastinate, that option is not available to you. So we're going from Buffalo. So March 12th around 8 o'clock in the morning, I got an automatic notification from SCAD. All spring courses are to be held online. See email for additional details. At the time, I didn't really know what this meant, and obviously neither did anybody else. We've heard of online classes, obviously, and everything, but how can an entire school be remote? I mean, we got this notification on the last day of winter quarter, and obviously nothing was done that day. We just kind of talked about what was about to happen. And in our last class with our last professor, he seemed to get it, what was about to happen for the next 2 years. He actually recommended that we take a gap year while waiting for classes to be in person again, which, at the time when we thought it was only going to be 2 or 3 weeks, it seemed kind of crazy, but, looking back, it makes perfect sense with how long it lasted. I had it lucky because I only had 2 classes until graduation. I had storyboarding and editing, which was pretty easy to do online. We were just racking our brains trying to think what the heck a pottery class would be, or an equestrian class, or any art class that should be in person at SCAD. At least storyboarding and editing was easy enough to do on a computer in Buffalo. What wasn't easy was saying goodbye to my teachers, my friends, because I didn't know when I would see them again, if at all. Suddenly, it was our last quarter in person. Instead of the last class of the quarter, it was the last time I would ever spend on campus as a student. It's an interesting moment the last time you're in a school as a student, because you think it's something monumental with good closure, but it's usually something mundane because we don't realize it's the last time we're in the building. For my mom, she walked in, returned a library book, and left. My brother got a Gatorade from a vending machine. For me, I was standing in the lobby of the academic hall after class. I noticed there was a new hand sanitizer machine there for obvious reasons. Yes, I took a picture of that hand sanitizer machine. I don't know why I did this. It was probably for a meme or something in a group chat, but I cleaned my hands and I walked outside. Maybe it's more metaphorical than I give credit for. I'm cleaning my hands, of SCAD and of this part of my life. Where are the towels? There's no towels. There are no towels. Whatever, it's the best and only closure I could have hoped for, because long story short, I spent, the next month in Buffalo taking classes in my room like the rest of the world. And I don't have to tell you how surreal it was and how quickly the charm of it wore off. Our pets loved it though, because we were home all the time, every day. Graduation was over a YouTube live stream with this guy. It was so goofy and weird, I even put together an edit for my friends just kind of as a reflex to what the fuck was happening.
Thank you, safety first. Thank you, Art. Oh no, oh.
And there's nothing that gets in the way of what I do.
Beautiful, you sound great. Check out all the stuff and look at that clock!
So that was funny and weird, but I knew I had to get back to Savannah at some point because all my stuff was still there. I had a whole apartment that I needed to pack out of. Flights were canceled and delayed for obvious reasons until finally I got one near the end of March. It was a foggy morning. My mom and I wore homemade masks, that's me, and walked through the completely empty parking garage. It was the weirdest sci-fi feeling in the world. It was absolutely crazy how empty the airport was. There were maybe 4 people on the plane. I got back and I got to spend April of 2020 with my girlfriend at the time. We knew at the beginning of senior year that we would probably end things when school was over. Our friends and family lived in separate parts of the country, and miscellaneous reasons. We spent that last month together doing stuff pretty much every single day, and then we went home. My dad was kind enough to fly down to the apartment so we could pack it up and drive back up to Buffalo. I was tired of packing stuff all day, a little bit depressed, a little bit frustrated, but I knew it was important that I took a photo. So that's me, that's my old room, that's my plant Steve, that's my suitcase, and that's me. I look great. I look just...
Eleanor Rigby picks up the rest in a church where a wedding has been. Lives in a dream, waits at the window, wearing the face that she keeps in a jar by the door. Who is it for? All the lonely people. Where do they all come from? All the lonely people. Where do they all belong?
Since then, I began editing for Lemur Studios in Buffalo. I moved into an apartment, spent a lot more time with friends and family in Buffalo. We filmed a bunch of stuff, new stuff, and now a friend of mine from SCAD is getting married, and we're all seeing each other again for the first time in 2 years. In the short term, I guess I was depressed like everyone else, trying to find a job, being stuck inside, but I knew that I was lucky, and I knew it could have been a lot worse. I was very fortunate to be where I was. People have lost jobs and opportunities in mental health, their loved ones, and their lives in this pandemic. So I guess my point is, you went through this like everybody else. There's no wrong way of dealing with it. However big or small your struggles were these past 2 years, they are yours, and it still sucks. But you're still here, you've made it this far, and maybe that's enough to be happy. That the worst possible things can happen in the world, yet you're still here.